And welcome back to Yorkshire Gamer and the Build the Bismarck series, and we're here on part 7. And you remember at the end of the last episode we were pretty good, got lots of the ship together. It's starting to look like Bismarck, and I'm just going to continue with the build process at the start of this episode, and we're kind of building upwards from the main deck, as we were previously. And the technique I'm using is exactly the same in the previous episode, just using that dark brown panel wash to bring out the detail, doing the wipe off and then gluing on. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to come back periodically and show you the next bit of the build. So there we go, there's another layer on. We've got another level of the front superstructure, building nicely up there, and then we've got a rear level of superstructure gone up there as well. Next up are 3-4 bits of the main conning tower, so I'm going to get those done and stick those on. So we've got those bits on now, and as you can see we are absolutely rocking through this now, and it is really starting to look like the Bismarck. So the bits that we've just looked at now is the top of the conning tower, fits onto the back of the stack, and all I'm doing is exactly the same as I've done through each of these parts, and that is a little bit of weathering, gluing, doing the cotton bud thing, then gluing the part on, and then a little bit of touch up on the greys, etc. And still obviously very shiny. As I said before, still we've got the gloss varnish on this at the moment, so that's going to get dulled down towards the end, and the decals are going to get blended in a little bit, but we are definitely there. So next up is our secondary gun battery, so I shall quickly put that together and get that ready to put on. So another quick run down the side of the ship as we've added a little bit more, and we can see there all the secondary turrets are now in place. And next up to do over here we have the tertiary turrets, so that's the next stage to put on. Just a word about the turrets. The main guns are movable, both sideways, left and right, up and down. Sadly the secondary turrets aren't. There isn't enough purchase in the connection, and they literally just fall out as soon as they move. So I've glued those in place, but the main guns have got a bracket on, which enables them to be kept in place. So let's get these tertiary guns on, shall we? Next up, it's time to add all the little bits. So you can see there I've got, apologies, washing machine going on in the background. Got some boats starting to go on there, and some cranes for the boats. And on there I've got a load of searchlights. In that box there are a load of tiny little machine guns, anti-aircraft guns, etc. And they will go on very shortly. It's just a case of priming these individually and then painting them up grey, giving them a little bit of dry brush and sticking them on. They're a bit too small to use with the airbrush, they end up pinging all over the place. And on top of that, up over here, we've got the cranes, the planes, and the boats. So I'll stick all the little bits on, and I'll come back to you when I get to the boats. Final bit to do then are these tiny boats. Sorry, not the tiny, the final bit. The one before the final bit is these tiny boats, and we've sprayed them earlier on the nails, so they're all done, and they've been varnished as well. Now, first bit is to just put a little black under the bottom of the boat, and this is Sorry about that change of light there. I don't quite know what happened. So painting the bottom of the boats and black, which is what they were on the ships. And then what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to get this stuff, and I've used this that much that the lettering's come off it. This is Vallejo Flat Earth, and I'm going to paint the top of the lifeboats or the boats, ship's boats, in that colour. So painted and dried. Next up, I'm just going to use some of this stuff, Quick Shade Strong Tone, which is a pretty decent and almost ubiquitous wash for many things, and just going to use that to bring out the detail on these tiny little boats. And I'm trying to do this again through the lens of the camera, which makes it very interesting. If you wonder why the tip of the brush is wandering around, then it's because I can't see it. So there we go. Looks a million times better already. I've just literally, if you can see, kind of put the outline of some window supports on there, and oops, a little bit too much on that one. But you can use that as a nice little ink reservoir. Going to do a little bit of tidying up on these, so we're not massively worried if we go over. And there's the last one. So there we go. You see how that nicely brings out the detail on the front of these launch boats, and get a little bit of neutral grey out, tidy these up, and we're back in a sec to stick them on. So as you can see, we've got most of the ships on already, and we've got a few left. We've got this one here and this one here, and oh, I might have a spare one, I think, looking at that, because I've got just painted 3. So we'll just get a little bit of glue on these rails here. There we go. And this one here is the one with the open cab. So, and I'm using these sort of twisted pliers to get them in situ. Never the easiest thing. And then finally, we've got the one with the cab, and that's going to sit on there at the back. Nicely. So the only thing that we've got left to paint is the aircraft. So let's do that. Here we are, people. The final 2 nails. After all this time, we are this close to finishing Bismarck. I've put 2 planes together, and one with a propeller, one without, and the one with the propeller is going to go on the ship, and then I'm going to have this one out on its own little flying stand. So the first thing I'm going to do is obviously paint it. I'm going to do a very light grey underside, and then I'm going to use trusty old Luftwaffe camouflage green for the top part. So I should get this painted and come back to you. So here we are with the finished planes, just a flat green, grey underbottom, and there's a little bit of very delicate camo on there that you can just about see. Now this one is going to be the one that's going to be on a flight stand, so I've put this onto a 100mm pike that normally goes on my Italian wall stuff, and all I've done is just heated it up over the gas fire and stuck it in to the bottom of the model, which gives it a lovely firm grip and nice little thing to go on the table as a spotter plane, depending on how your rules work. Then I've just got one of the spare MDF base that I've had lying around. I've drilled a hole through it, and I'm going to put that into there and then do this C base. Do this as a C base with the texture as the main ship has. So all that's left to do is delve into here and get some decals out for the aircraft, which I'm particularly looking for because they are absolutely tiny. But never mind, we'll get it done and come back, and I'll put them on the ship, and we shall be done. So here we have our finished planes, and bring that up. We've got the decals on, looking good. And then this is the one that's going to act as my spotter plane on the table, and I'll build the C up on this later on. But there we go. So the final thing that I'm going to do on the ship, gluing wise, that is, construction wise, is this. And I thought, because you've been with me all the way, that we would. Oh, I do apologise. Well, tripod. My tripod's got a bit crazy. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. So I thought, because you've been with me all the way, that we would share this moment together. And this moment is not happening because my glue's not coming out. Would you believe it? 3 months of building and my glue's not working. So, stand by. Right, let's try again. So, get some glue in there. I can't quite tell whether it has gone in. It hasn't. So, I do apologise. All this work we've done together, and then we get to the last piece, and it all goes a bit bad. But there we go. We've got our glue in. We've got our glue in, ready for the plane to be received. And here we go. So, drum roll, please. Just fits in. And there's a little slot there for it to go into. And there we go. We are done. So I will lift this off here. We're not finished, but the build process is done. So let's just give you a bit of shaky cam. So moving along now, we've got all the tiny detail guns on. The masts are on. The cranes are on, the boats are on, the aircraft is on. So we are full in terms of build. So, I shall do one more video after this because we've got the sea to finish off. We've got flags to put on. We've got the troublesome symbols to sort out. And lots of bits and pieces to still do. But I think that's looking good. So, I'll see you for one final video very shortly.